Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest of the Overboard Network, a Below Deck podcast. We're back with episode 2 of Below Deck Med titled, I've Got a Secret. That's actually, Sean, not that bad as they usually are.
Yeah, that works.
In this week's episode, we'll conclude on the stabilizers, get through our first charter with our interior outshining the deck crew. We'll get into an insane tip, and we'll get to the start of our first night out. We'll go over who won, who lost the episode, and go over our question of the week. Sean, let's get right into the episode here. Now, I'm going to say I think this episode was a primer for what could be a chaotic season. So we know Dave and Natasha have hooked up at this point. We know Natalia is well on her way with Storm, I think. And from what we saw in some of the previews, it looks like Courtney might be back. So Z may get some attention. Reagan also seems like a wild card here that could be capable of anything. Could be capable of maybe staying out a night, bringing someone home, hooking up with a charter guest. I mean, I'm spitballing here. We know little about her, but she seems like a wild card. While this being our first night out, and we know we're going to get the conclusion of it next week, tonight has definitely sparked my interest on the season.
Yeah, and we've only gotten half a night out so far. Right? Usually, next week's gonna be something big.
Yep.
I didn't watch the previews, but I feel like it'll be something big. And John, I'm bullish in every season of Below Deck early on, just because I do trust the show so much. And I've been burned a few times, I have. But with this crew, as you mentioned, there's already some chemistry between cast members, both platonic and romantically. And that's a valuable thing. Ask anyone who's watching Southern Charm this season, where no one in that cast has any chemistry. It's something you can't it's kind of luck of the draw, getting it or not. And there is gonna be some hookups. I've got a good feeling so far, man.
It almost seems like they got the memo on last season's Below Deck Med where there were no hookups, right?
Yeah.
Besides maybe a Courtney and Z just make out.
Oh yeah, but that was very playful.
Yeah. And then we got into Sailing Yacht where it was everywhere. And we're like, okay, this is what Below Deck is. This is why we're here.
Right.
So let's get into this episode a little bit. So at the very beginning of the episode, the boat's rocking, the stabilizers are offline. It seems like it could have got pretty bad, but it got to the point, I think one of the engineers came in and basically shut everything off and turned everything back on. And because this boat is a hybrid, apparently it limits its power. So I don't know. I can't tell you what happened interiorly, but it looks like everything's good, but it seems like something that could come back later this season.
Yeah. So it was because the air conditioning system failed, the stabilizers failed too.
I guess everything runs off that and it tries to pull power to the AC. So anyway, hopefully this doesn't happen, but at least now they know what the issue is. You would think a super yacht would be able to not have this happen, but hey, that's why they get 50% off, right?
Yeah. Everyone, it was pretty harrowing. If as far as everyone's reactions to it, hey, what's happening? This is terrifying. To be fair, this does happen every time Captain Glenn sails on Below Deck Sailing Yacht. As far as stuff falling over.
But it's a known thing though, right?
Yeah. Kind of. He doesn't warn anyone.
That's fair. I think it's so funny. Every time they sail on Sailing Yacht, something breaks. As if that boat was not made to sail.
Yeah, right. I will say
it's unbelievable.
Natasha bringing up her experience 3 years ago, where the boat was just tipped over basically, and there's fuel being flying off the boat and everything, and electrical shocks and stuff. That sounds pretty terrifying. I didn't know what a stabilizer was.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I get it, I guess. I don't know if I've ever been on a boat that has a stabilizer. I don't think 19-foot open bows typically have that. But either way, now we're past it. So, Sean, let's get into a little bit of the guests and everything else that happened the rest of their charters. So, um, I think that there's still some disconnect in the deck crew.
Yes.
It does not seem like Reagan has taken advantage of the bosun position. It seems like she's running with her head cut off, chicken with her head cut off. What do you think the long-term prospects are of Reagan here?
I think she's got to either promote like Storm or Z to lead deckhand, just like to create like a little bit of structure. Whether or not like we agree that we're like the lead deckhand should be a thing, always causes a lot of drama. I think she has to though, because I don't know, like no one got bricks that day, like the second day of the charter, right?
I just can't. Has she not like managed 3 people before, or like it seems like she's done every job on a boat, so I'm not sure why she's having such an issue here.
Oh yeah, when Storm was like, "Is this your first time as a bosun?" and she's like, "No, I've always been an officer."
Storm looks strong, man. I think that guy. I mean, it looks like his skills are strong. He seems like lead deckhand material.
He picked everything up very fast. You can tell she's a little offended by that question, but yeah, she doesn't know how to do the schedule or anything. People are oh, you're gonna do anchor watch and then be off for an hour, then come up and do the docking and then be off for another hour. Like what?
That schedule made no sense. So I think it was like Kyle was like on anchor watch from 3 to 5.
Oh no, Jason, right?
Yeah, and then he's going back down, and then he gets back up at 7. Like it doesn't make any sense. I don't know who's making the schedule. And even Jason said that. He's like, yeah, this really doesn't make sense. I mean, it is what it is. She's kind of thrown into an odd situation where like you're making a schedule for 3 people you don't really know. And I get that, but this should be her first go around.
Yeah. Wouldn't you think, okay, like that's the swim platform thing was embarrassing. That was like 90 minutes.
That was awful.
And Z, who's like barely inexperienced as a deckhand, was like, hey, yeah, usually we would set it up like on the boat and put it in the water. And
yeah, which he doesn't really have. He has like seniority on the show and with Sandy, but he's just as new to this boat as everybody else.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think Storm has more experience than him.
Yeah, and like I know like people were like, "Oh, Z has so much experience." I'm like, with what? Sandy is a captain that he doesn't report to, that like he reports to at like the top level, but it's a new boat. It's not like he knows it any better.
Yeah, he even said he's been home since last season.
Yeah,
in Cape Town because of like the South African COVID rules.
Yep.
So yeah, I would say Storm should be the lead deckhand, but John, wouldn't you think that would make her life a little easier? So
absolutely.
She doesn't have to be there all the time watching them.
Yeah, let Storm take the lead. That's exactly what she needs to do. I think Sandy even kind of mentioned, she's like, I liked how Storm took initiative, this, that, for when they were docking. But yeah, I mean, but at the same time, it's really early in the season. They're just done with first charter,
John, speaking of that, so Sandy has Storm kind of be in the middle of the boat, calling out distances to the dolphins, right?
Yep.
And Reagan was in the bow. Does that mean that Sandy already trusts Storm more than Reagan?
No, I think because Sandy is blind to the bow, so she needs the person she trusts most up there.
But she trusts Storm second most.
Second most, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was just a bad look this episode. So there was that point there with the rafts was just embarrassing. You just jump in the water. If you're Storm, you just have to jump in the water at that point and like swim it back, right? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
I know everyone was killing Reagan for that. It's like, no, you can't have Reagan go out there because then you have one guy on the raft and she's swimming it back to the boat. That doesn't make any sense.
John, I do have a theory though. Reagan doesn't want to get her hair wet.
I thought she wouldn't want to get her cigarettes wet.
Yeah, well, it's the second episode in the row where she doesn't want to have to go in the water.
Yeah. I mean, it does just kind of stink, just to have to jump in the water, then have to go take a shower.
What if she can't swim and she's the bosun? That would be something.
Do you think that's a requirement? Do you have
Yeah.
to take a swimming test to be a bosun?
I would hope so.
I remember we had to take swimming test at like sleepaway camp in the summers,
Mm,
because you'd be like, you could go out to here if you can swim so well, but you can only go to here if you can't swim so well.
yeah.
So you would think to be on a running vessel, you'd have to take a swimming test as well. But I don't know. I mean, Sunshine faked his whole resume, so
I'm guessing Regan can swim. I would hope so, but that would be a great resume lie, though.
yeah. Can swim.
That's
Like,
all it
would
says.
you? Yeah, like is capable of swimming. All right, Sean, let's get into the interior a little bit. We've got Natasha, we've got Natalia, we've got Kyle. They seem to be working really well together. Seems to be going above and beyond for the charter guests here. Natalia really good with the placement settings. Even Sandy said was really good. I really don't see any issue with interior at this point.
No, and I gotta tell you, I think Kyle was the secret weapon because he's like really connected with the guests.
Yeah.
And wasn't afraid to embarrass himself. All the weird stuff with was it a dildo?
Yeah.
Him and Natalia doing whatever that was in their room.
I will say, was there anything that like,
Cross the line.
yeah, not only crossed the line, but like, was there something on their like preference sheet that was like, we want sex toys, or we want like, are we just assuming they want sex toys? Would you do that to like would you do that to a straight couple?
They probably wouldn't. No, I think maybe Kyle, maybe it was Kyle's idea. I don't think it was. I feel like it was Natalia's idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That could have gone wrong.
Right. Like you had to, they must have known the vibe, right? Like there must have been a lot of like innuendos and jokes going around to be like, it'll be cool if I put a dildo in my pants and walk up to them. Like that's not a cold open, right? Like
you built to that.
Exactly.
You realize these guys are going to find this funny, but they kind of needed a Hail Mary because of how bad the deck crew was. And Billy didn't love the first day, like the first dinner or anything. He hated a cinnamon. So you kind of got to do something. And like Kyle really does connect with these guys. Obviously he has, he recently came out as gay, so he connects in that way, but just also like same sense of humor and all that. So, and Natalia's a riot too. I think she's so funny.
I think she is. They play really well off each other.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So did I read that right? Did I hear that right? That Kyle just came out last year?
Yeah. So he was in a 7-year relationship with a girl. Before.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to find out more.
Yeah. Congratulations, Kyle. It sounds like he celebrated 1 year of being out.
Was it 2 or 1? It was not that long though.
It was less than I probably would have thought, right?
Agreed. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But no, honestly, they're all rock stars in there. Natasha seems to be doing great. At the same time, like I think Natasha's doing so great probably because Natalia and Kyle are so strong. That's not taking away from Natasha. I'm just saying it'd be hard to look bad with these two under you, right?
Oh, they have 3 chief stews, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
We know Kyle's been a chief stew mostly. I think Natalia said that as well. So, like everyone could be a chief stew there. Yeah. It's a pretty unfair team, strong. Honestly.
It really is. Now we know that there's rumors that Courtney's back. So, do one of these people go or something? I mean, we'll see what happens.
I can't see anyone. No way Cindy fires any of them.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What?
Oh, I hate that. I saw this. There was a preview last week for the season on where Kyle may hook up with a charter guest.
Uh,
Damn, I didn't want to hold that back, but I did
yeah.
see that. Now Hannah did that
Is
too.
that a deal breaker for Sandy? Is that a deal breaker for Sandy?
Yeah,
Is
but
that against the
Hannah
rules?
Hannah did that
Yeah.
in season 2 of Med, but she also lied. I don't know if Kyle's as good of a liar.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, you know who's not a good liar is our chef Dave.
Mm-mm.
Sean, let's just get into it. I thought we'd probably do it at the top, but Dave and Natasha have a history? No way. Wouldn't have guessed. Couldn't have seen it coming. 1,000,000 years.
It's so obvious to everyone else on the boat, right? And then on the cab ride, so they get the big tip, right? After Billy and company leave. What was it? 27 grand. Amazing, by the way. So
That's unbelievable. What is
Yeah.
it, like $2,500 for like 2.5 days work?
yeah. Like Kyle and I really feel like Kyle and Natalia were a big part of that. But but Chef Dave's food was awesome too. That
do you
dinner,
think, Sean?
that dinner looked great.
If you're on a boat, what do you bring? Are you bringing like two? Are you bringing like 2 envelopes with you?
Like one good one bad one.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to have an uncle who used to jokingly say, when you go to a wedding, always bring 2 checks.
Depending on how much fun you had. I don't have, if I ever have that much cash in real life, I'll do that.
Yeah.
That's not a problem for me currently, but
we,
I could have
we
a
got
check-
time to go, man.
yeah. One with 27 grand and one with 15 grand. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll definitely do that.
Yeah. But yeah, so obviously there's a history between Dave and Natasha here. First off, we have to get into it, but I do have to bring this up, Sean. Hey, Dave, the backwards hat with your ears pinned is not a good look.
I feel like bald guys, when they're like going out, they get a little bit too in their head about being bald.
Yeah.
And like, look, if you're outside golfing or during the day, wear a hat. I wear hats a lot too. But you don't need to wear a hat all the time. And not that hat, and not with your ears tucked in. Like, what's happening, man?
What was he wearing? Like a 7 3/8 hat?
He's a good-looking guy. He does not. He doesn't need like he has a normal shaped head. He doesn't need to wear a hat all the time. And
or a hat that's too big for you and fitted. Like, it just he's a great looking guy. Listen, if I go bald, I want to be able to grow facial hair and have a sweet tattoo.
Yeah.
I'm not going bald right now, so I don't have either of those things, although I am growing out a mustache. But I mean, the guy's a good looking guy without the hat. I look terrible. He looked terrible. I'm not sugarcoating it. He's a good looking guy. He looked like a he looked like a youth at that point.
Backward hats, they always make everyone look a lot younger.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You have interesting feedback from girls. Some girls like it, some girls don't. No one likes the way he looked in that hat though.
Well, I remember George Costanza used to always say he couldn't wear a hat the first time he met a girl, because then they'd always be wondering if he was bald, and then he finally takes it off and there's this look of disappointment, right?
Yeah. So he's
going the other way.
Going the other way, and he's very in his head about being bald.
Yeah. You know what I thought was really weird? He was really weird on the car ride, and he was really weird at dinner. It makes me think he's like not a normal person when he's not in front of like the kitchen.
You might be right. They're a little weird. Him and Natasha are weird together, and I guess we sort of found out why, because they did hook up when she was still with her ex-boyfriend technically.
Yep.
But there's just other stuff about them too, like the way she just like hugs him from like she's on the
side hug.
She's on the ground, like standing on the ground, and he's in the top bunk and trying to give him a hug.
Yeah.
That is very, very odd.